Did you know that if you are renting out any property right now, there's a decent chance that the lease that you have in place with your tenant might contain an illegal provision and be void as a result? And not only that, if your lease is voided, you could have to repay all of the rent that your tenant has paid to you. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you exactly what every landlord in the state of Wisconsin needs to be doing right now about their rental property leases. I'm Paul Zimmer, a Wisconsin real estate attorney that helps southeastern Wisconsin individuals and businesses protect their real estate and business investments. Just recently, the Court of Appeals ruled that when a lease contains an illegal provision and is void, the landlord can be ordered to pay back all the rent the tenant has paid to the landlord under the void lease. That's right, I did not misspeak. With this new ruling, all the rent that you've been paid as a landlord could be subject to have to be given back to the tenant if the tenant can prove that your lease contains an illegal provision. The Court of Appeals case I'm talking about is called Colby Investments versus Alicia Marquardt. In that case, a landlord tried to evict a tenant and the tenant's lawyer argued that the lease contained a void provision. Now, under section 704.44 of the Wisconsin statutes, a residential lease is void and unenforceable if it contains any one of 10 types of invalid provisions. For example, a residential lease cannot require the tenant to pay the landlord's attorney's fees if a legal action arises. Sometimes we see clients using leases that they got off the internet or from some out-of-state real estate guru, and those leases sometimes contain blatantly illegal terms under Wisconsin law, like the attorney fee shifting provision. The real bombshell news from the Colby Investments case, however, is that the Court of Appeals ordered that because the lease was void, the landlord had to pay back all of the rent that the tenant had paid under the lease. And that's why it's so important to make sure that your lease does not contain any illegal provisions that could allow a tenant to win a similar claim against you. So if you're a landlord, you're probably thinking, what do I need to do right now to make sure this doesn't happen to me? The first thing you need to do is wrap your arms around exactly what leases are in place with each tenant you have. Next, you want to compare your lease with section 704.44 of the Wisconsin statutes to determine whether your leases contain any of the provisions that render a residential lease agreement void. You probably want to have a lawyer help you with this, keeping in mind that your tenant's lawyer in the future might look at your lease trying to find ways to argue that the lease contains illegal provisions. If you've determined that you do have an active lease with a tenant that contains an illegal provision, you've got to act very carefully, and you should consult a lawyer about the exact situation at hand, as each situation is unique. But generally speaking, the goal is to have any tenants who are under a lease containing an illegal provision sign a new lease agreement that does not contain an illegal provision. And generally, you want to try to do this without alerting the tenant of the issue. Look, this is a serious issue, and there is no grace period for you to deal with it. The leases you currently have in place with your tenants might already be illegal, and you might already be sitting on a lot of potential liability. At the very least, you should deal with this issue before you file your next eviction, because when your tenants are facing eviction, they are more likely to figure out this type of claim and pursue it against you. If you need representation on buying or selling or investing in real estate, visit our website for more information or check out the rest of our videos on our website and our channel. Or you can call your friends at Zimmer Rens and we'll analyze your entire situation and provide you a very clear plan of what you need to do to protect your assets and stay out of trouble.